Hello everyone, welcome to LUKMAAN IAS. So today on 9th of March 2021, we are going to understand some important articles from the Hindu newspaper. Okay, so the articles that we are going to understand for the day are listed here. Okay, so we are going to look into these articles one by one and we will understand these articles from UPSC Civil Services exam perspective. So let us look into the articles that we are going to look for the day. The first article will be the Supreme Court seeks states' views on 50% cap on quota. So this particular article is very important from General Studies paper 2 point of view, and under it from Indian polity and governance, okay, Indian polity, constitution and governance related issues. Then we will look into the second topic for the day, which is an alarming dictate. Okay, so this article also revolves around reservation quota in jobs. Recently the Haryana government has issued a legislation. They have passed a legislation that allows 75% quota in private jobs. Okay, so we will talk about this particular article. This is also very important from General Studies paper 2 point of view under Indian polity, constitution and governance. Okay, under Indian polity, constitution and governance. And then we will discuss about the third topic for the day, which is the contours of the end game in Afghanistan. This is a very important topic from international relations perspective, that is under General Studies paper 2 of mains examination. Okay, this is a very important article that highlights and talks about India's relationship with Afghanistan and the issues, recent issues about Afghanistan. After then we are going to look into the next topic, which is only half of the government schools, Anganwadis have tap water. Okay, this is also a very important issue. This is with reference to governance. Okay, with reference to governance, and that too under GS paper 2. GS paper 2. After then we are going to cover the last topic for the day, which is freedom deficit. Okay, so this particular topic talks about a report that has recently been published by an international organization, and it talks about freedom, freedom in the world report. Okay, so it talks about how India performed in that particular report. So we will talk about this particular topic in today's discussion. So this will be a part of report and indices. Okay, report and indices. Okay, this will be a part of report and indices. It will specifically be important for the prelims exam and as well as for mains. You can write points in all the papers like General Studies paper 2, General Studies paper 3, like that. Okay, so now let us move and understand the topics one by one. Okay, so this is the first topic for the day. Here we are going to understand about this particular article. So this article says that the Supreme Court seeks states' views on 50% cap and quota. Okay, so recently what has happened, as you might be knowing, that the government of Maharashtra has passed quota for Maratha people. Okay, so they have passed a legislation that allows 12 to 13% reservation of Marathas in the government job in Maharashtra. Okay, so Supreme Court of India was hearing this particular case, and that judge that particular hearing was being taken by a constitutional bench comprising of 5 judges. But the judges have decided that they will not only take into the consideration of the recent case related to reservation quota in Maharashtra, but they are also going to include other issues. Okay, they are going to include other issues that are revolving around reservation in India. So the Supreme Court of India has asked different states to come up with their viewpoint related to reservation quota. So in that perspective we are going to understand this particular article. Okay, so let us look into the article, what has happened. Okay, so Supreme Court has decided to examine whether its nearly 3-decade-old judgment, which fixed reservation for the marginalized and the poor in government jobs and educational institutions at 50%, needs a relook. It simply means in 1992 there was a 9-judge bench, 9 judge bench judgment. There was a Supreme Court judgment, and that comprised 9 judges of the Supreme Court of India. So that judgment is known as Indira Sahni judgment. In that particular judgment, the Supreme Court of India had decided that the maximum ceiling, okay, in reservation in government jobs and in admission in educational institutions will be 50%. Okay, so that judgment is known as Indira Sahni case. Okay, Indira Sahni case, okay, of 1992. There, the Supreme Court of India has decided to fix the reservation at 50%, and it also included, you know, an extraordinary circumstances clause. Okay, so there was some kind of exemptions in extraordinary circumstances. Okay, extraordinary circumstances. Okay, so after this, okay, although like there is a limitation of 50% in reservation in government jobs, but like states like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, they have significantly, you know, significantly increased the reservation by passing different laws. Okay, so Supreme Court of India is hearing those legislations, and now Supreme Court of India has decided that we will relook into this Indira Sahni judgment of 1992, and we will see whether there is any requirement of relooking the previous judgment of Indira Sahni case. This is one thing. And apart from this, the Supreme Court is also including other significant questions so that it can also, you know, look into those aspects of reservation. Okay, so we are going to discuss like what is the name of the legislation that was passed by the Maharashtra government. Okay, so that name of the legislation is known as Maharashtra State Reservation for Socially and Educationally Backward Classes. Okay, Act of 2018. Maharashtra State Reservation for Socially and Educationally Backward Classes Act of 2018. And this particular act of the state of Maharashtra allows 12 to 13% additional reservation for Maratha people. Okay, and like, you know, thus it takes the reservation percentage in the state, you know, across 50% mark, and it was enacted under extraordinary circumstances. Okay, so as we already discussed that the Indira Sahni judgment had categorically said, like, you know, 50% shall be the rule, and only in exceptional and extraordinary circumstances or situations for bringing far-flung and remote areas population into the mainstream, the said 50% rule can be relaxed. Okay, so under the Indira Sahni judgment, the Supreme Court of India has decided that 50%, you know, maximum ceiling of 50% will be the rule, but there will be an extraordinary circumstances clause. Okay, so if there is an extraordinary situation, in that case this particular 50% clause can be relaxed. Okay, so that was the judgment of the Supreme Court of India. And apart from this, the Supreme Court of India is also hearing the cases related to, you know, related to the decision of the Maharashtra State Backward Commission under the chairmanship of Justice M.C. Gaikwad. Okay, so Justice M.C. Gaikwad was the chairman of, okay, Maharashtra State Backward Classes Commission, and this particular commission has allowed reservation above 50% ceiling limit. So Supreme Court of India has decided that that it will relook into this particular you know, commission's report as well. Then the Bombay High Court, okay, the Bombay High Court in June 2019 had reduced the quantum of reservation for Marathas from 60% recommended by the Gaikwad Commission to 12% in education and 13% in employment. Okay, what has happened? So the, you know, High Court, like Bombay High Court had decided that, like, you know, this particular commission had earlier given a recommendation of 16% reservation, okay, for Maratha people. But Bombay High Court has decided that, like, instead of 16%, 12% reservation will be given in educational institutions, and 13% will be given in government jobs. So this particular clause is also going to be relooked by the Supreme Court of India. And apart from this, okay, the Supreme Court is also going to relook whether the Constitution 102nd Amendment Act of 2018, which introduced the National Commission for Backward Classes, okay, like interferes with the authority of the state legislatures to provide benefit to the socially and educationally, social and educationally backward communities in their own jurisdiction. So what it means? It simply means that the Supreme Court of India is going to relook the Constitutional Amendment Act of 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 2018, and this act has provided for the National Commission for Backward Classes, and this particular National Commission was to work, okay, to check like how much reservation is to be provided to backward classes in different states. But like earlier, this was under the purview or under the discretion of the state governments. So Supreme Court of India is going to see if this particular Constitutional Amendment Act interferes with the authority of the state governments, okay. So that is another factor. And the Constitution Amendment Act had introduced Articles 338A, it introduced Articles 338, B and 342A, okay, it introduced two articles, okay. So it was Constitutional Amendment Act, okay, Constitutional Amendment Act of 2018, it was 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 2018, okay. The Article 338B deals with the National Commission for Backward Classes, and Article 342A empowers the President to specify the socially and educationally backward communities in the state, okay. So the thing is, the court is also going to relook, okay, it wants to relook on the issue whether the Article 342A strips the state legislatures of their discretionary power to include their backward communities in the state list, okay. So these are the significant questions that are going to be relooked by the Supreme Court of India. And apart from this, the Supreme Court of India is also going to see, other significant issues like, Indira Sahni judgment of 1992, okay, they are going to relook into that thing. They are going to relook the Maratha quota related issues. They will, recheck the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act, okay. And the Supreme Court of India is going to see like if this particular Amendment Act deprives the state governments of their authority of including, the marginalized sections of the state in their, state list, okay. And they are going to relook, Article 342A, like they are going to see whether Article 342A abrogates a state's power to legislate for or classify any backward class of citizens and thereby affects the federal polity structure of Constitution of India. So this is a very significant topic, okay. You should keep an eye on this particular thing. There will be significant development in this issue in the coming days, because Supreme Court of India is going to hear it further and it is going to decide upon this particular case, okay. So this is a significant issue. Apart from this, we are also going to understand the next topic for the day. This topic says an alarming dictate, okay. Haryana's new 75% jobs for locals law is a harbinger of a doom, okay. So recently what has happened, the state government of Haryana has passed a law, okay, and that particular law is, okay, what it does, like this particular law gives 70% reservation of the local population of Haryana, okay, in private sector jobs as well, okay. So what it does, the Haryana government says like at least 75% of people of Haryana should be given reservation in the private jobs, and the ceiling limit is like in all those job categories where the maximum salary or wages up to 50,000 rupees per month, okay. So those people, those job categories where people are given up to 50,000 per month, so those people will be those job categories will be reserved for local youths of Haryana, and the reservation will be up to the extent of 75%. Okay, so this particular issue also raises another question, another constitutional question. Okay, like in the Constitution of India, when we read about the fundamental rights, we talk about equality in opportunity in case of employment. Okay, so there are other issues around it, like if we talk about Article 19 and if we talk about Article 16 clause 2, these are the articles that are being affected. And even if the this particular law is upholded, okay, even if this particular law is upholded by the courts, what will happen? People who are investing into investing in Haryana, for example in Gurgaon, those companies, those multinational companies that are investing their resources in some of the locations in Haryana, they will be discouraged, because like if they don't find the proper talent over there, okay, and they will have to employ 75% of local youths, so like there will be a negative sentiment among the people like who are who have invested their money into the companies. Okay, this is one thing. But this particular bill also gives a clause that like if you do not find talented people in certain job categories, in that case only you can employ people from outside. Okay, it also permits some government officials to inspect into those private institutions or private organizations and check whether local people are employed, okay, up to 75% mark or not. Okay, and like all the kind of employment category, like if there is an organization, if they have employed some of the people, they will have to list down all those people who have been given job, right, in an online portal, so that inspection can be done by the government of Haryana. Okay, so this is a significant issue. And at the same time, what it does, like it gives a kind of state visa kind of thing, like if there are people of those state itself, they will be employed. So the thing is, it actually hampers the one nation concept. Okay, recently the the central government has mooted the idea of Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, one nation, one market, etc. So these these inclusive ideas are going to be hurted because of this particular legislation. So this article actually criticizes the move of the Haryana government in introduction of 75% reservation quota for the son of the soils or for the local youths. Okay, so this is a very important article. In your free time you should read about it. Okay, so now let us move to the next topic for the day, and this topic is very important from international relations perspective. Okay, this article is important from international relations perspective. We are going to understand about recent changes in Afghanistan. Okay, as you know, like Afghanistan is one of the neighbors of India. Okay, and India has significant interest in Afghanistan. Okay, so Afghanistan has been into turmoil because of interference by United States of America, but under the presidency of Barack Obama. Okay, so Barack Obama has initiated a peace process, and he has announced that United States of America is going to withdraw its troops from the soil of Afghanistan. Okay, so in that perspective, there was a Doha round. Okay, there was a Doha round that is known as Doha Agreement. A Doha Agreement was signed. Okay, Doha Agreement was signed between Afghanistan government and Taliban. Okay, even after the signing of the Doha Agreement, what has happened? The Taliban has not severed its relationship. It did not curtail its relationship with Al Qaeda and other terrorist organizations. So it raises significant questions on the efficacy of the Doha Agreement. Okay, so after then also, when the Doha Agreement after the conclusion of Doha Agreement, okay, when the things were not working in the in the desired manner, Russia has announced a alternate venue for discussions among the leaders. Okay, Russia has announced like we will allow Moscow to be a location where you can come and discuss and settle the issues among yourself. Okay, Russia has said that particular thing. So in that particular negotiation, okay, India was not included. But recently there has been significant changes, and India has been, okay, into developmental activities in Afghanistan. We have developed various institutions in Afghanistan, including the parliamentary building in Afghanistan. Okay, so India is in favor of development of Afghanistan. India wants a peaceful Afghanistan. It is in the interest of India. But what is happening, okay, the thing is, peace process is taking a lot of time, and after the election of Joe Biden, okay, as a president of the United States of America, they have again restarted the process of negotiation. Okay, and now this time, okay, after the election of Joe Biden as a president of the United States of America, many high level officials from the from Afghanistan, okay, they visited India, and like Indian leaders have met them, and like we built a greater ties with Afghanistan, and in coming future India may be a participant in the peace process of Afghanistan. Okay, so like what the United States of America is saying to Afghanistan, it is saying that like Taliban should look forward for a ceasefire. It should drop its arms, and at the same time the United States of America has offered that like on an immediate basis we are going to allow you to have 50% of your presence in the government of Afghanistan. Okay, so like there is a established government and there is Taliban that is struggling for power. So United States of America has said like we will negotiate a deal in which like the Taliban is going for a ceasefire, and we will allow the Taliban, okay, like we will allow the Taliban to have 50% of 50% like presence in the government. Okay, so this is just a proposal from the United States of America. It has not yet been agreed upon by the Taliban, and at the same time the Afghan government is looking forward for a peaceful Afghanistan. So a peaceful Afghanistan is in the interest for India. It is in the state of United States of America as well. But there has been report that Pakistan keeps on giving certain like a lot of kind of weapons and all. They export these things to Afghanistan, and it resettles. Okay, it resettles the peace process. Okay, so that's the thing. So this particular article is talking about the recent development, okay, in that perspective. Okay, so as of now the peace process is in the way, and the United Nations organization, okay, the United Nations organization is also thinking of an alternative mechanism for the peace process, in which the United Nations organization has proposed that Turkey should act as a seat of negotiation. Okay, Turkey should act as a seat of negotiation, where countries like China, India, Iran, Pakistan and Russia and the United States will come together to discuss about the peace process of Afghanistan. Okay, and as I already discussed, that India remains fully committed to Afghanistan despite the policy flux there. Okay, bilateral relations are flourishing between India and Afghanistan. There have been frequent and productive high-level exchanges between Indian and Afghanistan leaders. Okay, and India is soon going to be a part of future consultation process on Afghanistan, because we have recently forged greater ties with the leadership of Afghanistan. And India stayed in the course with a long-term commitment to supporting state institutions in Afghanistan, expanding its developmental partnership, working with the communities across the country, and asking leaders of Afghanistan ethnicities to remain together. Okay, that policy has been well received by most of the Afghan people and government. It was well suited to the time, and it has served India as well. Okay, so if America plan, you know, American plan results only in reduction in the violence, okay, and not in complete cessation, and US forces are, you know, pulled out, India must step up to assist materially to those who want to defend the Afghan Republic. Okay, so when in the late 1990s also Afghanistan was in turmoil and like it needed some foreign support. So at that point of time, India and Iran together came, okay, to support Afghan peace process over there. Okay, so that's how. So you know, this article was written by Jayant Prasad, and he has been an Indian ambassador to Afghanistan, and at the same time, like, he also headed, okay, he was the Director General of the Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis, okay, IDSA. So this is a very important topic from international relations perspective, okay, India and its neighborhood relation as well. Okay, so having understood this, let us move to the next topic for the day, and we are going to see this particular topic. This topic says only half of government schools, comma, Anganwadis have tap water. Okay, only half of government schools, comma, Anganwadi have tap water. What do we mean by tap water? Okay, so the thing is, like, those schools, okay, those schools, like, you know, where, okay, where like students do not have any, you know, hand washing facilities, okay, or like facilities to wash, you know, their mouth and all. So those schools are facing a lot of difficulties. So there are certain states in India, okay, there are certain states in India, in those states there are 100% tap water connection in all schools and Anganwadis, and at the same time there are many states in India that do not have even 15% of tap water connection in their schools and Anganwadis. So in that perspective, we are going to understand about this particular article, like what this article talks about. Okay, so only this article says that only half of the government schools and Anganwadis have tap water supply, despite a 100-day campaign for 100% coverage being launched by the Ministry of Jal Shakti in October 2020. Okay, so on 2nd of October 2020, the Ministry of Jal Shakti has launched a campaign of 100% tap water connection in all government schools and Anganwadis. Okay, so 2nd of October is Gandhi Jayanti, okay, the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. So on that time, okay, the Ministry of Jal Shakti has launched this particular campaign, but even after the expiry of that 100-day campaign, now only 50% of government schools and Anganwadis have 100% tap water connection. So in that perspective, we are going to see how many states have 100% tap water connection and how many states have, you know, lesser tap water connection in them, okay, in their schools and Anganwadis. So like it says, this particular article says that basic need is unmet. Okay, basic need is unmet. Okay, so it says that while 7 states in the country have 100% tap water coverage in schools, 3 have abysmally low coverage of less than 15%. Okay, so this article actually says about 7 states that have 100% tap water connection in their schools and Anganwadis. Okay, so these states are Andhra Pradesh, Goa, Tamil Nadu, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Telangana and Punjab. And if we talk about those states that do not even have 15% of tap water connection in their schools and Anganwadis, there are 3 such states. One of the state is Uttar Pradesh, that has only 7.93%. Then we have West Bengal, 10.89%, and Jharkhand, 12.99%. So these are the states, and this particular report was, you know, given by the standing committee. Okay, it was so in its report on the demand for grant submitted to the Lok Sabha, the standing committee urged the ministry to take up the matter with laggard states. Okay, so Ministry of Jal Shakti has discussed. Okay, like Ministry of Jal Shakti has been asked to, you know, discuss with the laggard states, means those states that have lesser, you know, tap water connection in their schools and Anganwadis. Okay, so This is a very important article. This article is important from social justice perspective and governance related issues. Now let us move to the next topic for the day. Okay, this is going to be the last topic for the day. It talks about freedom deficit. Okay, it talks about freedom deficit. What do we mean by freedom deficit? Freedom deficit means a situation where the people of a particular country do not have, you know, proper freedom to move freely or to, you know, have political freedom. Okay, so recently there has been an international report that is known as Freedom in the World Report 2021. In the Freedom of the World Report 2021, what they have done, they have actually categorized India, okay, at a lower you know, place as compared to 2019 2019 ranking. So the recent ranking, India's rank has reduced in the Freedom in the World Report. Okay, so if we talk about India's freedom score, okay, like India's freedom score measures people's access to political rights and civil liberties, and it has declined sharply since 2018. Okay, and this particular thing has been according to the Freedom in the World Report, and India was downgraded from a free nation in 2019 to partly free in 2020 in the report. Okay, so in the 2019 report, India was declared as a free nation, okay, where people had freedom, okay, like greater freedom. But in the recent report, India is said a partly free country. Okay, so curtailing of personal liberties such as freedom of expression and religious practice coupled with crackdown on the media and on protest gatherings were some reasons given for the decline. Okay, so these were the reasons. What were the reasons? One of the thing is like people were curtailed from practicing their religion, and at the same time there was crackdown by the government on media houses, okay, and government functionaries, okay, by the government functionaries on media houses and all. And at the same time, the government has taken stringent measures against the people who were protesting against the government. Okay, so this particular data point or this particular article highlights the declining freedom. It says that with the freedom score of 67 in 2020, India has been categorized as a partly free nation. Okay, the country is part of the global decline in the state of democracy. Okay, so India has become a part of the global decline in the state of democracy. Every year since 2006, the countries where political rights and civil liberties declined outnumbered nations where they improved. It simply means since the year of 2020, almost every country in the world has witnessed a declining freedom in them. But there were few countries that have witnessed an improvement in the freedom ranking. Okay, so the number of countries or number of states that saw decline in freedom were more as compared to number of countries that has seen an improvement in the freedom category. So so they have given these two these two graphs. You can analyze these graphs to see how India's freedom ranking is going down, okay, in different years. Like if we talk about 2013, 2015, 2019, 2017, 19 and 2021. So as you can see over here, this is the ranking of India. Okay, this is freedom score 60, 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 78. Okay, so as you can see, this particular graph initially increased, but now it has gone down. Okay, in 2020 the graph has gone really down. Now India is categorized as a partly free country. Okay, earlier it was categorized as fully free country. And if you analyze this particular graph to the right hand side, so the red color over here, it indicates the number of countries that improved their freedom score minus the number of countries where the score declined. Okay, it shows it shows the overall thing. Like there are some countries where the freedom score has increased and there are countries where this freedom score has declined. So this particular red color shows the number of countries that improved their freedom score minus the number of countries that has seen decline in their freedom score. So this is the overall thing. Okay, this is overall thing. And if we talk about the lower portion, Okay, so the right hand side of portion, it shows the number of countries where the score declined, and the left side shows, okay, this one shows the number of countries where the number of countries that improved their score. Okay, so as you can see, this is the darker color, so darker color is the left one and this one is the right one. Okay, so the left one shows number of countries where the score declined. Okay, so this one, these are the number of countries like 52, 59, 59, 60, okay, in different years, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, like up to 2020. Okay, so there are various countries where the freedom score has declined. Okay, it is mentioned in the left side, and there are many countries where the freedom score has, you know, has improved. Okay, so if we take an average, we will come into this particular thing, red line thing. Okay, so this shows how the freedom in the world is, you know, changing over time. Now, having understood that, let us understand about, you know, certain other factors. Okay, like what are the factors? Like erosion of rights. Okay, this particular chart shows the change in India's scores in 2020. Okay, compared to 2013. Okay, across various components which together compute the freedom score. So, you know, like what are the reasons because of which the freedom score has declined? What are those reasons? So those reasons are listed over here. One of the reason is, you know, like what are the components or what are the attributes, you know, that are taken into consideration. Okay, what are the components or attributes that are taken into consideration to calculate the, you know, freedom in the world report? So they take into account these things. Okay, like electoral process. Okay, electoral process. Under electoral process, they talk about free and fair elections. Okay, so those countries where election is free and fair, so, you know, that is taken into account. Then political pluralism and participation, free political organization, political rights of marginalized sections. Okay, then functioning of the government, corruption free and transparent government. Okay, then freedom of expression and belief, media freedom, freedom of religious expressions, free speech, etc. are considered. Then if we talk about associational and organizational rights, okay, so under this they take into account the freedom of assembly, freedom for NGOs and trade unions. Then if we talk about rule of law, under this they cover independence of judiciary, use of physical force by authorities. Okay, and if we talk about personal autonomy and individual rights, under this freedom to choose marriage partner, freedom from economic exploitation, etc. So these are the parameters that, you know, this particular organization takes into account to come up with freedom in the world report. Okay, so that's all that we have to discuss for the day. Okay, thank you so much for attending this session. I hope you have a good day ahead.